Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our PowerPoint, our presentation on Si Se Puede Undocumented Students Can Go to College.
My name is Hugo K.
My name is Ariana Paricio, and we're both college access fellows for 10,000 Degrees here presenting.
And so let's go a little bit of the agenda of what we're going to talk about. So first of all, we're going to talk about who we are, also why we're here and why we're so passionate about the work we do, and our organization, 10,000 Degrees. We're also going to be talking about what it means to being undocumented and, how students become undocumented, and those who don't know, and, what the steps overcome those, that being undocumented. We're also going to talk about funding your education. It's a big, big question for our students who want to go to college, who are not sure. So we're definitely going to be talking about different practices and different laws that help students not only in California, but in other states as well. And talking about California, we are going to be talking about case studies here and what our students and our undocumented population has in terms of how they can go to college, how they can pay for college. And one of the things that we want to make sure that everybody understands is that we're going to be talking a lot about California because that's what we know and what we're used to, and that's the students that we serve. That a lot of this information could be similar or a little bit different in your home state or in other states that you're interested of, going to school there for. And we'll talk a bit more about that as we go along. And of course, we're going to talk about on the more federal level of deferred action for childhood arrivals, which is DACA, and the opportunities that has for students and for those who already have it now and what the next steps they need to do later on. So that's what we're going to talk about. Hope you guys enjoy. Some of the FAQs, the questions that we usually get, and I know that we had when we were students, is why go to college? The other one is, can I go to college if I'm undocumented? Can I pay for college if I'm undocumented? And what specific challenges do you think undocumented students face that might be different from documented students? And definitely we're going to talk about why it's important to know resources that can help undocumented students. Now, hopefully, by the end of the presentation, we're going to be touching each of these questions and answering them for you. And please feel free to ask any questions throughout, and we will address them at the end. And hopefully you guys enjoy.
So first of all, I want to briefly talk about the organization we are a part of. We're a nonprofit organization located in San Rafael that focuses on helping students who are primarily from low-income, first-generation, traditionally underrepresented groups. And we are serving Marin and Sonoma counties, but we are also, and we're very familiar with the policies and laws, college policies and laws in California. We're familiar with the national laws, but our primary focus is in California, and some of the information we provide may be applicable elsewhere.
So like Ariana said, what we do is definitely help and support students, whether they're documented or not. And one of our main missions and our goals is that everybody has the right to go to college. And that's why we're here. We're both products of 10,000 Degrees, and we want to share this information with you. And if you're in California in the area and need help and assistance, or you know people that need our assistance, we're more than happy to, lend a hand and provide information and, help students achieve their goal.
Right. So now in talking about our organization, we want to talk and share a little bit about ourselves, who we are, and how we came to be part of in this work. My name, like I said, is Ariana Paricio, and I am originally from Mexico City in Mexico, and I grew up in a little town in Puebla for my first 4 years of life with my grandmother. And I came to this country at the age of 4, and in a little town in West Marin, where I grew up for the rest of my life. I was fortunate enough to realize at an early age that I wanted to go to college. I was 10 years old when I realized that college was a pathway I wanted to pursue, but I didn't quite understand what that meant. I don't even know where I got that concept from, but I do remember striving to getting those grades and getting involved in sports and being involved in the community because that's what I heard from people around me that that's what I was supposed to do. And it wasn't until I participated in the in this program, 10,000 Degrees, that I was able to learn about SAT workshops and how to write my personal statement and learn everything that about college, the college process that it put the pieces together. And it was my senior year of high school that, okay, I have the information, I have the motivation to go to college, but now what? Like, I'm an undocumented student in California, and I want to go to college, but is that even possible in my situation? And number two, I was also concerned about funding my education. I wasn't able to apply to FAFSA. I wasn't able to provide a social security number that some scholarships required. And so, fortunately for me, I grew up in a small town that was surrounded by local businesses that helped and were passionate about supporting students like me to continue their educational goals. And I applied to take advantage of all the local scholarship applications, and I applied to about 20 local scholarships provided by me. And I was able to receive funding for the first 2 years of college. So, in seeing that my community supported me regardless of like where I came from or where I was going, they supported my passion and supported my goals. So, in seeing that, it just motivated me even more to complete my goal of graduating from college. So that's when I attended Santa Rosa Junior College for my first 2 years of my educational path. At the time, as an undocumented student, I needed a little bit more time and a little bit more guidance as to what path and career I wanted to pursue. So eventually, I did transfer to Sonoma State University, where I graduated with a sociology degree and was able to process and take a picture that you can see on the screen now, holding my diploma. And so, yeah, that's me. And now I'm working with this great organization, 10,000 Degrees, helping other students access and go through college and using scholarships, mentoring, workshops, taking them on tours. So now I'm very happy to be able to work and give back to my community in this way.
For me, very similar. I actually was born in Mexico, in Hidalgo, and at the age of 5, my family decided to come to the United States. And when I was young, I had no idea what that meant. All I knew was I was going to go see my family, I was finally going to be with my parents, and everything was going to be great. The thought of college was always implanted in my family, but the question of how was always very, very, very blurry. We did not know how that was going to happen. We were undocumented. And I never really understood what being undocumented was until my senior year, or a little bit at the end of my junior year. And so then friends were applying for scholarships or were looking into schools, and I had no idea where to start. So just like Ariana, like it was an organization of like 10,000 Degrees that definitely helped me scope out what's out there, see what I needed to do, and definitely a lot of teachers on my campus, at my high school, they were definitely able to just sit down with me and like call the universities. They sit down and call to see how I can take the SAT, the placement exams, and everything. And it never really occurred to me. I was very happy and very thankful for the work they did for me. And it wasn't until I got into college and I stepped into the campus where I started to see how much of a great resource they were for me, and I wanted to give back. And I actually just graduated from California State University Stanislaus in Turlock this past May with a computer information systems degree from the College of Business. And as much as I love that degree, and it was the best experience I've ever had, my passion came into helping students fulfill their academic goals. And whether it's just going to a 3-year college and then from there transferring out, or going directly to a 4-year, whether they're documented or not, being able to help and being able to serve students and seeing that they can see something that they never saw, like I did, it's actually one of the biggest and most rewarding experience I can ever have. And that's why I decided to come and apply for 10,000 Degrees, and I was so lucky and happy to actually get a position here. And it's so strange because I look back at my history of my past and like I came when I was 5. I had no idea what I want to do, and I finally made it. And it took me 5 years to graduate from college. And when I walked that stage, this past May, and actually shake the hand of the president and hold my diploma, and just stare out into the crowd and see my parents proud, that was the biggest reward I ever had. And so this is why I'm here, and I know Ariana can see exactly the same thing. And I hope you guys get a lot from our presentation. Just another reminder, we will be going through your questions more to the end. I know a lot of you guys are from other states, and we'll do our very best to address those questions and give you appropriate information, the best of our knowledge, and help as much as we can. So again, thank you for being here, and we're so happy and excited to share this with you.
Being undocumented. Maybe you don't know if you are or you're not, or if you have a friend that is in this situation, but basically we broke it down into 3 categories. The first category is entering without authorization, which means basically crossing the border and being in this country without documentation, or in whatever other way you came to this country, it's being here without a legal status. The second one is entering with a visa and overstaying that visa. I know some individuals that have been that traveled to the United States and just never left, and so that made them undocumented. And also, lastly, being in the current process of legalizing your situation, so you're neither legalized or not. You're not haven't legalized your situation, so you're in that blurry line of getting that paperwork through. So that still means that you're undocumented until that approval gets.
Yeah, and one of the things about entering with a visa and overstaying your visa, that can either be a student visa, a work visa, or any of the above. Again, a lot of the information is going to be really, really general. And so whatever we talk about, whatever like visa stuff or anything laws of the state, please check with your community. Please check with a legal advisor, someone with a profession that can definitely assist you, your students, your family. Like questions like, did I already overstay my visa? Am I in the process of overstaying my visa? What does that mean? Or any of the above. So definitely one thing that we wanted to address. Now, this slide is the undocumented population in the U.S., and what we wanted to show you is definitely kind of give an idea of who is the undocumented population. The main idea that a lot of people have is that they mostly come from Mexico or from Latin America, and we wanted to highlight, yes, there's a lot from Latin America coming in, but of course, so much more from other places. One of the things like China, we have close to 280,000 undocumented individuals here in the States. Korea, Philippines, India, Vietnam, and definitely others. So that could be European, Canadian, African, from all over the world. And we just want to highlight that we were served, we were helped out, and it was definitely not just for us, not just for our community, but our community as a whole, who is the undocumented community, and helping them out, making sure they have the right, the questions that they need to be asking, the right information, and definitely support everybody as a whole. So that's what we wanted to highlight here.
Yeah, and just something to add would be that common misconception that media portrays as undocumented people being generally from Mexico. Yes, we're the majority, but as you can see in our graph, it's individuals come from all over the world, and something to know that we also have some Canadian undocumented people in the United States. So it's a way to kind of give you a visual of the breakdown of the undocumented population. So the undocumented population in the U.S., as I said, comes from all over the world, but also how it's distributed throughout the country varies by state. So as you can see in our graph, in our map here, California, Texas, Florida, and New York are the most densely populated states with undocumented individuals. There's a darker red space, and then it's slowly distributed throughout in different colors based on how many undocumented people are in those specific states.
As we mentioned, we are located in California. We are located in Marin County, and 25% of all undocumented immigrants are actually in California. So we want to show you guys a little bit of what we have and the students that we serve, and San Francisco, even though it looks very very small in this map, actually has a huge population of 30,000 undocumented individuals. And so just to kind of give you an idea that well, all over the states, there's going to be different, like, little pockets where students are where there's heavily undocumented population. And one of the things I want to make sure is reach out, go ask questions, see what support is out there, and hopefully there is a lot of support. And we're going to talk a bit more into which states and where there is support, and we'll definitely talk about that in the next slide. So we just want to highlight what we have and what we work with here in California and in our county.
Yeah, and also just to emphasize that you may feel alone in your country, in your state or county or community, but just understand that there's a lot of undocumented students throughout the country, and then it's getting connected with those individuals that will make a difference in getting ahead and moving forward.
Definitely. Now the question is, can I go to school if I am undocumented? That means from kindergarten to high school, already being in college or at a university, and even after that, graduation, graduate school, law school, and medical school. And the answer is yes. Anybody from any state can go to college, and we're gonna have to work a little harder, and there's gonna be more obstacles and a lot more questions that we need to ask. Not only our schools, our friends, our teachers, our counselors, but just know that there is opportunity out there. There are 2 examples, and there's hundreds, thousands more examples of students who are going to college and who did make it. Some without any loans, and some, just a little bit. But the opportunity is there, and just know that you can go to college. And if this, the questions about your friends, me like, I don't know, can they go to college? The answer is always going to be yes. Let your neighbors know, your community, your friends, your family. There is opportunity out there, and we want to make sure everybody knows that and is aware.
So how do I pay for college? That was one of the questions I had as a high school student entering college. And basically, you have to become very resourceful and very creative into how to fund your education. So my primary focus was scholarships. Private scholarships that didn't require a social security number, scholarships that were funded by local businesses, organizations, church, community programs. Like I said, I applied to about 20 scholarships, and I was able to receive 12 of those. So you never know which scholarship you will be able to receive. So in general, just apply and do your own research. Look into local organizations that have scholarships, or look into your financial aid office, where they may have their own list, and their own list with specific requirements or eligibility qualities that they're looking for. So definitely look into scholarships as your primary funding source, but also, like I said, you might have to be creative and do some fundraising. I know of some students that ask their fellow peers or their family members to donate 10 cents or 50 cents, whatever they could, to a marathon they ran. So every lap that they ran, they would get a little bit of money in that regard. Or create a car wash. Get your friends or your community to do a car wash, and then all the funds will benefit students like in your community that will make a difference in being able to pay for their college education. So opportunities and just being creative in many ways. Creating a web page online and asking for people to donate whatever they can, and tell them your story if you feel comfortable doing so. So definitely, it's thinking outside the box.
And one of the biggest things here is doing your research. You might not know how much support is out there or what is available to you in your own community, in your own neighborhood, or even in your own state if you don't do the research. That's one of the things that I had to do, and that it took a lot longer. And a lot of friends were, doing things a lot faster than now, especially it was a little harder for us back in 2008 and before. But now we have a lot of great resources that we will talk about and share with you at the end of, where you can find these scholarships and make it a little easier for you to, explore and start working on.
And, yeah, and just know that it's time that you will invest. Yes, you might have to sacrifice the reasons because I did, but it was worthwhile in the end because think about it in the way that, if you're spending 5 hours on a scholarship for that may award you $5,000, that's in the end, if you get awarded that scholarship, you will be getting paid technically for that time that you spent more than if you were to work 3 jobs or anything else. But just think about it in those terms, and it definitely will help you be successful.
Now, we're going to be looking at state laws and policies on access to higher education for undocumented students. And what we want to share with you this map is what is out there. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of states who are agreeing to have that are states with tuition equity laws that allow students to go to college who are undocumented and not have to pay out-of-state fees, or either for all their schools or just for a couple. And want to make sure that the red states here, those are states that ban enrollment for undocumented students. And it's very unfortunate, very sad to see that that's out there for our community. But don't let that stop you. And if you're around those states or you're part of those states, still ask those questions. Go to the administration, see what they can do for you. Because that's the only way you can actually find out more information. Maybe there's additional support or aid that, it's not shared on a website or open, but that school or that institution or that system will have support for you. So definitely please go out and do your research and look what's out there. But we are very happy to see that there's a lot of states that are supporting students. And there's this website, NACnet.org. They have a lot of great information and more in depth in specific states. And so something to keep in mind. And don't feel like, oh, my state's not going to have anything like this. There's a lot of whites and stripes states. That's just to show that, there are people in your community, in your district that want to support you, that there is help out there, and that they want to make a change in those states. So if you're part of either Florida, Oregon, Colorado, Arizona, and such, just know you're not alone. But definitely go out there and do research. I think Ariana had a friend in Alaska who there wasn't support out there until she asked questions and ended up having to pay, knowing how to pay in-state tuition instead of out-of-state. So it's all about asking those questions and, reaching out and finding out who's out there and who can help you out. So that's what we wanted to show with this. And we're going to go into the next slide, and that's going to talk more about California and what our students and our population here has available to them. And why we wanted to show that, definitely for those who are in our state, that of course, a lot of these laws and a lot of these, what we're going to talk about, these policies, may be equally the same or slightly different in other states. Maybe even those who are not fully green yet, some of those laws probably are still there, or if, maybe just a district or maybe just a school. So please, again, we're going to refer to this all over and over again. Do your research and definitely know that there's support out there. So now, the California paving the way for undocumented students to attend college, and I'm going to have Ariana talk about this one.
Yeah, so California is a great example of how they're helping undocumented students go to college. We've recently enacted a lot of laws that have made it easier for our undocumented students to attend college. Some of them have been through a lot of work and years of awareness and pushing forward and asking legislators to change their policies. So, for example, AB 540 is one of our policies, and the California Dream Act was recently passed about 2 years ago. So what is AB 540? So basically, it's a California law that allows students to meet all requirements to pay in-state tuition for California colleges, CSUs, and UCs. What this means is that students who are undocumented and went to a California high school for 3 or more years, graduated from the high school are able to submit this 8540 affidavit, which is the form where they state that if they ever become able to fix their situation, they will be able to do so at that time. But for now, they're saying that they have been in California for 3 more years, graduated, and are interested in pursuing a higher education through one of these institutions.
Another thing to know for those who are in California and where those states have similar laws like this isn't just for undocumented students. This is also for documented citizens of the U.S. who were, let's say, in Colorado and they lived there the whole time and they moved to California and they were here for 3 years and graduated. They still are able to be eligible for AB 540, so they don't have to worry about paying out-of-state fees. And it definitely helps, that population and the undocumented population, make it easier for us to, pay for college and not have to work so much. Yes, we still have to work a little harder, and we're going to talk a bit more of what's out there, but it's definitely a relief instead of having to pay twice or more than the actual what they cost. So now we're going to talk about the California DREAM Act. And one of the things that we want to make sure everybody understands is that the California DREAM Act is not the federal DREAM Act. This is specifically just for our students who are going to school in California. And first of all, they need to qualify as AB 540 before they can apply for the California DREAM Act. So what it is, it's really, it's pretty much similar as the FAFSA, but it's only for in-state money that is provided by California. So we want to make sure that everyone understands that the same questions are asked. They still need to provide, tax information, and they need to be going to school and be able to, get some funding, which definitely helped me in my last 2 years at CSU Stanislaus, because before I had to work a little extra harder, my parents had to work a little extra harder, and I do a little bit more research. And with the California DREAM Act, it definitely helped me out, be more relaxed and, focus on my studies and, continue. Now, what the California DREAM Act entitles is AB 130 and AB 131. So these two policies and laws, both of them together make the California DREAM Act. And what that means is that AB 130 and AB 131, students cannot get California grants. They can get Box C waivers for the community colleges. They can apply and be enrolled into the EOP and EOPS for community college schools. And what that is the early opportunity program, and that helps first generation students and with additional funding and support, counseling, advising, and it definitely allows students to apply and go for private institutional grants. And what that means is specific money that a specific school has for their own students. Now they can apply for those specific scholarships or grants and be awarded without having questioning their status or whether they have social security. Now, another thing that's very, very important for all students in California who have the California DREAM Act or want to apply is that they need to register for the selected services. Now, a lot of males forget to do so or don't know how, and then they end up not being awarded the California DREAM Act or that additional aid. So please go out there, find out where you can do it. I know post offices that you can do it from there and other locations. Mail, register for the selected services. All right. So that's what that is. And going into more in depth of what AB 130 is offers state-based financial aid for community colleges, UCs, CSUs, and private universities. Again, that's the Cal Grant, that's the BOG waiver for community colleges, that's the EOP program for the CSUs, EOPS for the community colleges, and that's what that entitles. Now, AB 131, it states it grants institutions the discretion to provide private financial aid to undocumented students at their campus. Again, that's their own money that they award to their own students who are either starting or already there, and they administer that on their own. So that's, once you apply to school and you get, let's say, Sonoma State, you can actually ask and apply for their own scholarships. And with AB 131, you don't have to worry about Social Security or, telling them what your status is. That's the one really great thing about for GMAC, and that was enacted 2 years ago.
So deferred action. Now we're going to move into the more federal level and talk about what deferred action for childhood arrivals means, which is also commonly known as DACA for short. And deferred action for childhood arrivals is a policy that was announced by President Obama in August 15, 2012, which allows and prevents undocumented individuals from being deported. It also provides them with a temporary worker's permit, a social security number that's also temporary, and a temporary state ID. So by the word temporary, it means that it has to be renewed after 2 years. So as long as this policy is in place, this has to be renewed about every 2 years. And it's not, and what DACA is not a law. It is not a legal status. Or I want to make sure that everybody understands that it's not a pathway to citizenship, or it's not a federal DREAM Act. So just understand that this is a temporary permission to be in the U.S. And be able to work and drive without the fear of being deported, or with that additional layer of having to,
just be scared of it being out there in the street.
Exactly. So it creates a little bit more calm, or it reduces the stress on some of our individual undocumented population.
And one thing that Adriana said is that it's temporary and it has to be renewed every 2 years. And this deferred action was actually, approved in 2012. So this year in 2014, it is renewal year. So if you already have deferred action, if you have friends who have it or families who have it, make sure that they are aware of when they need to renew it, because you do not want to exceed that time, because you might not be able to renew it again. So make sure that you know what that date is and you renew it beforehand.
And so the requirements for DACA are that you must have arrived before the age of 16, be under the age of 31 years old on June 15, 2012, be living in the U.S. since June 15, 2007, and present in the U.S. with an unlawful status on July 15, 2012. You will be required to submit documentation to prove all of these requirements. So you will have to present something that states that you were here on July 15, 2012, and all these other documents prove it. So it is a long process, but it is worth it in the end.
Now, the other requirements for DACA is you must be either in school, have graduated, or obtained a GED, or have been honorably discharged from the U.S. Armed Forces or Coast Guard. You must have no felonies, no significant misdemeanors, or more than 3 misdemeanors. Now, one thing that we want to make sure everybody understands is that what entitles a significant misdemeanor, or do I still have a misdemeanor? Maybe it happened many years ago. If you're not sure, please check with an immigration attorney. Check your status, see what you have, and maybe you're fine, or maybe you have some sort of misdemeanor, but it won't affect you. But we can't answer those questions. Definitely you have to do your research and talk to a professional, an immigration attorney that can help you out with that. And you also must be between the ages of 15 and 30 years old to apply. Adriana did say, this is a little lengthy of a process, and you have to get a lot of documentation. That's going to your high schools, asking for your transcripts all the way to when you enter elementary school, immunization cards, any awards you have. It just says that you were here present during that time. And it's kind of fun. When I did mine, it kind of brought back memories and kind of reassured me why I'm here and what my goals are, and that's, a better future. And definitely DACA was a huge implementation into my life, and now I'm able to, be here and share this information with you. And that's the benefit of DACA and what it has.
Yes, definitely. Life with DACA, like Google said, it brought a sense of relief to me. It changed my life. It really just lessened the weight that I was carrying. So making me be able to get a worker's permit, like the one you see on the screen. And with that, I was able to get a temporary social security number that states for workers purposes, for working purposes only, and it also says PHS on the social security card. With that, I was able to go to my local DMV and get a driver's license and an ID. And once I was able to obtain that, I've been able to travel within the country to different places and have the freedom to drive without the fear of being pulled over and getting my car towed or getting a ticket for not driving for driving without a license. So definitely, that it has been a relief in that way. Just note that not all states, like we showed you in the map before, are undocumented friendly. So some states have not allowed some individuals to receive their driver's licenses. But definitely know that this is an option and just be able to work with what you are granted. So, yeah.
So now we're going to talk a little bit more of the recent policies in California. One of the great things about California so far is that in the last couple of weeks, we just have, our governor enacted new laws that will be implemented next year. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're not sure how they're going to play out or what else they need to do. So we look into the laws and definitely kind of want to share that information with you and just be ready for next year, 2015, 2016, how that's going to look and implement and see maybe you qualify. And again, some of these may be similar in other states or might be the process. So we want to share that with you. And the very first one that we want to talk about is SB 1159, which allows students to obtain professional licenses in a career that they choose. So before, you studied, you went to med school or law school, and you couldn't practice because you didn't have a license. Now with this law, students can receive a license, practice, and fulfill their dreams. And I think that's the great thing about it, that they can now actually do what they need to do without needing to worry about having a social security. Again, DACA is a temporary one, and that's only for work purposes, so it cannot be used to apply for school. It cannot be used to get your professional license. So definitely, what we have and what we use is the individual cash identification number, so they can just see that is really you, and students can actually fulfill the dream. And I think that's the best part about it, and that's going to be implemented next year. And we're just saying, again, we're going to be just sharing this information of what we know now. And, once the next year comes, hopefully we and everybody else have a better understanding how that's going to work and help students, achieve that opportunity.
Yeah, so like Hugo said, it's definitely just good to be aware of the recent policies that have been implemented to look forward and plan ahead. Another great new policy is SB 2110, the California Dream Loan Program, which is starting next year, 2015-2016, for University of California CSU bound students. What this means is that students will be able to take out up to $4,000 per semester and no more than $20,000 total in loans. So you will be eligible for a subsidized loan with a current interest rate of 4.66%.
Which is really, really great for students now who want to go into medical school or just a higher education or even to a school that they don't have the funding yet, or $4,000 per semester is a great opportunity for students, and now they have this opportunity, which is great.
Yes, and lastly, AB 2000 is bridging the gap to educational success for early graduates. So what this means is that it's similar to the AB 540 policy, but this is allowing students who probably don't meet those requirements to target or are able to reach more students outside of that school. Which the requirements are must have attended 3 years at either an elementary, middle school, or high school, have a high school diploma or GED, and or a certificate of completion. And this is going to allow students who are at any of these grade levels that attended any of these grade levels to take in-state tuition. So this will take effect starting January 2015.
And we'll have a lot more information once 2015 comes in and see how that comes into play and how that's going to benefit the students from all over California.
So now what? Keep moving forward. I can't emphasize it enough that yes, we as undocumented students we may be faced with a lot of closed doors, but we still have to keep knocking on many more so to see what else is out there. Maybe just make a new discovery, find out about a new scholarship that probably wasn't known in our community, and because we asked and made that call and asked if we were able to apply to it, we now know about it and have an additional resource. So definitely keep moving forward. I understand this can be difficult depending on what state you may be in. You may feel alone. You may feel like no one else is out there going through this process. I know I felt that way back in 2006 or 2007 when I was about to graduate high school, that I felt like no one knew or enough about this. But thankfully, um, 6 years later, I've been able to uh, a lot has changed since then, and there's a lot of new policies that we have learned, a lot of new laws that have been making it easier for future undocumented students interested in going to college to access those resources. So,
well, one thing with keep moving forward is don't feel discouraged from going to school. If it's your dream, make sure you achieve it. And that's the really great thing about just our community. We're very supportive, and in your neighborhood and your surrounding area, you don't know what's out there if you don't reach out. And I think that's one of the main things about this slide that we want to make sure everybody understands. Never let that stop you. If it's a fear of money, it is a little harder and a little more difficult for all of us who are undocumented to pay for school. But never let that discourage you. Always keep moving forward.
Definitely, and like you said, if it hadn't been for those notes, that fueled me to keep moving forward regardless and proving them wrong, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have graduated from college. So it was taking that information and turning it around to kind of fuel you and push you forward. Another thing I wanted to acknowledge is that supporting each other. I think as Latinos or as undocumented individuals or as whatever community is in your region, it's definitely good to reach out to each other by creating a support group or taking into your own self the possibility of creating awareness and bringing information and asking those questions. Sometimes sometimes it's beneficial to those people that you're asking for help to share your story if you feel comfortable. If that person provides you that trust to share your story, and in that way you're educating them as well and creating kind of like this domino effect where he or she may not know what the answer may be, but may know someone in your department or in your community or in a business that may be able to assist you better. So definitely with that is supporting each other and sharing this information with fellow undocumented students or fellow allies, educators in your community. And lastly, outreach. So definitely with all this progress in California and nationwide now with DACA wouldn't have happened without the work and support of so many individuals that push to create more equality, more access to higher education. And so definitely bring your own self wherever you go and share your story if you can, and just
most definitely
bring awareness to this issue that it's not just
it's not just for undocumented individuals, but it's for everybody. And we support each other, we keep moving forward, and we outreach. The knowledge just grows, the support grows. Students who might feel that they can go to college, that mindset changes. Families who are afraid of, saying, oh, my son or my daughter, we are undocumented, that changes, and that because they simply understand there is opportunity. And that is the great thing about what, we want to share with you, because like Ariana said, we wouldn't have been here if we didn't ask those questions.
Or had that support.
Those
individuals.
Have the support, definitely. So now we're going to recap of the questions that we talked about earlier in the beginning of the presentation, and if you just tuned in a little bit ago. We want to talk about these questions. These are questions that we have, and these are questions that a lot of students have even to this day. So why go to college? One of the things for us is definitely the opportunities out there. Fulfilling that dream, fulfilling that goal, being proud and owning it, like I said, when I walked the stage last May, and I finally understood what it was. I finally understood that sense of pride, and you know what? I did it. I achieved it. My family's proud, and even more, I'm proud. That even though I'm undocumented, it did not stop me.
So, the next question, can I go to college if I'm undocumented? So here we are, two individuals and many more out there in your communities that have been able to go to college and graduate. So don't let your undocumented status stop you. There are resources and information out there. It's all a matter of asking for that help or asking for that information and doing your research.
Yep, definitely. And can I pay for college if I'm undocumented? The answer is yes. Again, there's going to be so much more work that we all need to do for those undocumented students, if you're undocumented yourself. More hurdles to overcome, but the opportunity is there. I was happy to come out of my college experience without any debt, and I worked a lot harder than most. But the opportunity is there, and it is doable. You can definitely achieve that goal.
Yeah, it's continuous work throughout your college years. I know I didn't stop in high school. I had to do this every spring. I had to do my research and I had to go into my financial aid office and just look at the list and spend those hours writing those essays. But in the end, it was worthwhile. I also was able to graduate without any debt, thanks to organizations like 10,000 Degrees that helped support me throughout my college years, and other nonprofit organizations, private scholarships, businesses, and individuals that invested in me because they believed in what I was going to succeed. And now I'm here giving back.
Now, the next question is, what specific challenges do you think undocumented students face that might be different from documented students? Again, part of that working extra hard, doing extra research. There are ways around so many things. Before we didn't know that I could apply for college because I didn't have a social security. So it's making those phone calls to either that institution, maybe you have a friend at school that might know people in admissions or whatnot. It is a lot more harder, and it is a scary process and a scary moment. But definitely once you go through it and you finally, you step into that college campus and you finish, you're like, wow, it was totally worth it. So it is difficult. It is a little bit more of a struggle, but it's not impossible.
So lastly, why is it important to know your resources that can help undocumented students? One, because that way you will be able to help other individuals in your situation, make it a little bit easier for them to go through the process of not only going to college, but overcoming that burden of being undocumented. And also making your teachers, professors, counselors, community members aware about this population in their campuses or in the communities. And also reaching out to representatives in your local organizations or governments to ask those questions that may probably prompt something to change in your community.
Definitely. And it's not just for you, but your neighbors, Tiffany and Ariana talk about that. It's definitely not, we've made it, a lot of us have heard it, knowledge is power, and this is what it is. We just want to make sure you guys know, your communities know, and, we're still working that in our own communities, making sure that everybody else knows. So that's the one great thing about it. So some of our allies that we have and that anybody can reach out to, we provided the information here. They have great resources, some specific information about specific states, about overall the U.S. or how immigration is working, education. So one of the ones that we really want to talk about is Educators for Fair Consideration, which is E4FC. They're actually based in the Bay Area in San Francisco. They serve and have information for everybody, including scholarships. There's some legal aid that you can ask them. They have their own department that supports students who can answer those hard questions, and it's free. And they're great research. We work with them a lot, and they're great people, and they're here simply to help and educate the community and the undocumented community. So I love them. They're a great organization.
Yeah, and they also have a great online activity on Facebook, and also they have their own guides for educators, allies, and students on how to help this population. So definitely it's a great resource or a great website to check out if you would like to receive more information. So contact us. Lastly, again, my name is Ariana Faricio. I'm a college access fellow for West Marin here in the North Bay in California.
My name is Hugo Kim, and I'm also a college access fellow for Southern Marin here in the Bay Area. And we want to share the information of Scott Bondelon, who is one of our managers here at 10,000 Degrees. He's part of the College Success Program that is for those students who are already in college and, they have questions about programs, they have questions about anything to do with college. He works with them. He's a great resource. He speaks Spanish also, and he also has a great story to tell about his own immigration and knowing this population. That's why he works with us, and he's very passionate about supporting our students and supporting our community. So that's who we are.
Most definitely. And then if we may not have the answer, we definitely have community organizations that we work with and can refer to you.
And so now we're going to go through, we have a couple minutes. We're going to talk about some questions that you guys have, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. So first of all, Gloria Leroux, she lives in California. Her son is 17 years old, and is in the 12th grade and has DACA. And she asks, where can I get help for this process? So pretty much your community, I wouldn't really know where to go to in Florida, but it's mostly asking those immigration attorneys who definitely have a lot of knowledge about this.
Or your Catholic charities programs or local nonprofit organizations that may be able to assist specific questions regarding your student on deferred action. I know if you're in California, we have local nonprofits that focus on helping these communities. So definitely checking out the local organizations in your area to help you with that process. Or asking your student's teacher or counselor if they have any information or can refer you to someone in your community to help you go through this.
Thank you. Now, Carlos Ortiz asking, my son is not undocumented, but his GPA weighted is 3.1 and he is ranked 254 in the class of 492. His dream is to go to the University of Maryland College and play lacrosse for the school, but I see it's hard but not impossible. I need to know the odds of him to make it into college. That's very, very specific in terms of, that's one student and one specific college. That's more, we would recommend definitely talking to the counselor and seeing what organizations are around in your community that can talk to that specific school, talk to him, what their requirements are, and what he wants to do in terms of that.
I would say definitely look into the University of Maryland College part and meet with someone in admissions, have a meet with, and just get more information as to the requirements, and see what the requirements are and how to meet those requirements. So definitely, he seems like he is a well-rounded student, and I think that with determination and your help, you will be able to assist him in making his dream a reality.
Thank you for that.
The next question is by Noel, and he says, or she says, I'm a DACA recipient currently enrolled at Miami-Dade College in the aviation program. A scholarship covers my tuition but not the cost of my flight training, which is required to pass the classes and obtain my training. I have a large family and we struggle financially. What options do I have to pay for flight training when I'm very limited due to my immigration status? So that's another specific question about flight training that I don't personally have the answers to. But I would say that if you are in that training, maybe someone in financial aid office or someone in your college may be able to answer or refer you to someone who has that answer for you. I would say definitely ask those questions and advocate for yourself and see if you're able to find some funding to cover those expenses or look into some local scholarships within your financial aid office.
That you can also definitely talk to the instructor of that your program and see what they do to just help fund students overall. Maybe I don't know how open they are about undocumented students, so you don't have to tell them your status. So you can definitely just start asking questions like, I need more help in funding this. what opportunities are out there, and little by little you'll see what more you can disclose to him or her or them, and just definitely get a better answer to that.
Yeah. So the next question is about workers permit, and would the work permit be able to be used in other fields, work in the fields, or is this open for any job? So the workers permit is open to anything. It's like any occupation that asks you for a social security number. So I would say you can definitely look into that field and asking if you're able to use that.
Yeah, when I got my workers permit, I really didn't know where to go to, start applying until I was actually able to apply on campus in the college readiness department, which at first it wasn't anything I wanted to do, but because of DACA and that work permit and with the temporary social security, it was definitely able to help me out, and I benefited from it. So it's not just a specific field; it's any field.
Right. The next question is by Kristen in Colorado, who's asking how she or would be able to qualify for DACA. I think we went over some of those requirements in our presentation that will be accessible later on in the archive or College Week Live, but definitely you have to have been here in the United States on June 15, 2012 when it was announced, among other requirements that we went over and you can access later on.
And if you haven't received or applied for DACA and you're thinking about what I need to do in 2015, it's definitely the same process. From my understanding, it's slightly different for those who are reapplying, but it's very similar. It's a little less work, but that's the only difference. So you're planning to apply in 2015. Same information is asked on this.
Yes, definitely. So someone, Maribel, is asking to clarify AB 2000. So yes, AB 2000 is it's just another law in California that is allowing students who don't meet the AB 540 requirements to help them pay in-state tuition because they probably didn't attend for 3 or more years of high school, graduated high school. So it's allowing those other students that don't qualify under that policy to be eligible to pay in-state tuition. So it's basically anyone that attended 3 or more years at an elementary, middle school, or high school. So it's not too specific to just high school. So it definitely just allows those students to pay in-state tuition in California and allows those students that possibly wouldn't have attended college to go to college because now they can afford to pay for it.
Yeah. Now, Kristen asked, what if I qualify for the DREAM Act, and hopefully you're asking for the California DREAM Act, can I still get scholarships from the federal government? If you're thinking about FAFSA, no, the answer is no. But you can apply for privately scholarships out there that's open for anybody, but not the federal government.
So we just figured that the federal DREAM Act was not passed in 2010, so we don't have that in place. We do have the California DREAM Act, which is the state-based financial aid for students in California or attending California schools. So that's the difference. California DREAM Act just allows those undocumented students to be able to receive state funding and to help pay for their schooling through Pell Grants, FOSI waivers, and make them eligible to enter programs like EOP and EOPS.
Now, we have a lot of questions about the PowerPoint that is going to be available, and yes, it will be. After we finish, it'll be uploaded, and you can review it through there and get more information from them.
Yeah, so we just want to thank you so much for tuning in into our presentation on Si Se Puede Undocumented Can Go to College. I hope you found the presentation helpful. Again, my name is Ariana Paricio.
And I'm Hugo Ken.
And we're happy and would like also to honor our host for allowing us to present on this very important issue. And I hope you found the information helpful. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact us on our contact information via email or look us up on our website at 10,000degrees.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.